Let me ask you something. How much longer are you going to wait? How many more days, weeks, years are you going to let slip through your fingers, doing the same things, living the same patterns, telling yourself the same tired story? Stop wasting your life. You were not born to wake up, scroll, survive the day, and then do it all over again like a machine with a slowly dying battery. You weren't put here to just exist. You were built for impact, for passion, for power. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your partner, not your friends. If you're sitting around waiting for permission to start living, you're going to be waiting your whole damn life. You've got one shot at this, and the clock is ticking. What are you doing with it? Stop telling yourself you're not ready. Stop saying I'll start tomorrow. Stop pretending you don't know what needs to change. You know what needs to change. You've always known. The real question is, when are you finally going to do something about it? Because here's what I know about you. Even if you don't fully believe it yet, you've got something extraordinary inside you. Fire, hunger, potential. But it's buried under your excuses, your fears, your distractions, and your comfort zone. And let me tell you, comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort will lull you into mediocrity. Comfort will kill your dreams with a smile on its face. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of pretending you're fine when you know you're not, tired of watching everyone else live while you just exist, then it's time to wake up, draw a line in the sand and say enough. I will not waste another year, not another month, not another damn minute. This is your time. Not next year, not after you get the perfect plan. Now. Get clear, get hungry, get obsessed with becoming the version of you that doesn't tolerate mediocrity. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Rewrite your story. Own your life, because if you don't, life will write your story for you. And that version, it's not the one you were born for. So let me ask you one last time. Are you ready to stop wasting your life? Then stand up, step up, and never ever settle again. No one is coming to save you. That's the truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. It's uncomfortable, it's heavy, it strips away the illusion that someone, somewhere, someday will swoop in and fix everything for you. But let me say it again. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your boss, not your friends, not your partner, not your government, not some mysterious force of fate. It's on you. Always has been, always will be. You see, we're raised on this subtle belief that someone will eventually show up and guide us to the life we dream of. Maybe it's the mentor we've never met. Maybe it's that magical opportunity we think is waiting just around the corner. Or maybe it's the fantasy that someone will see our potential, open a door, and carry us through. But that's not how life works. Life isn't a movie where the hero gets rescued in the final act. Life is raw, life is real, life is relentless. And it only responds to those who are willing to step up and take full ownership. Ownership is scary. It means if your life is a mess, it's on you. If your body is out of shape, it's on you. If your finances are a disaster, it's on you. If your relationships are broken, it's on you. But at the same time, that's the most liberating realization you'll ever have. Because if it's on you, then it's also in your control. You have the power to shift it, rebuild it, rewire it, and rise from it. But it starts with killing the lie that someone else is coming to do the work for you. There is no magical day coming. There is no perfect moment when the stars align, your fears vanish, and the path becomes easy. People waste decades waiting for that moment. They wait until they're more confident. They wait until they have more money. They wait until someone validates them, until they feel more ready. But readiness is a myth. You don't become ready by waiting. You become ready by moving, by showing up in the discomfort, by making decisions without guarantees, by betting on yourself even when no one else does. When you stop expecting someone to save you, you stop blaming excuses, you stop blaming your circumstances, you stop pointing fingers. Because blaming gives away your power. Every time you say, I can't because of them, or this happened to me, or they didn't support me, you are handing your future to someone else. You're saying, here, take my potential, take my goals. You control how this turns out. And that's the quickest way to guarantee that nothing changes. You don't need someone else to choose you. Choose yourself. Decide that your life matters enough to stop waiting. Decide that you are capable enough to figure it out. No one has all the answers. No one starts perfectly. But you learn by doing, not by fantasizing. You grow by failing forward, not by waiting for permission. And if you're still waiting for someone to give you permission to change your life, this is it. You have permission. But the action, that's still up to you. This doesn't mean you do it alone. It doesn't mean you never ask for help, but help only works when you've already committed. Help is a tool, not a crutch. The strongest people in the world are the ones who say, I'm responsible, but I'll take support where it helps me move faster. They don't outsource the responsibility. They just use every resource available to amplify what they've already decided they're going to do. Most people don't want to hear this. They'd rather blame the system, their childhood, their ex, the economy, the algorithm. And yes, all those things can make it harder. Some people do start further behind. Life isn't always fair. But guess what? Complaining about it doesn't make it easier. Sitting in self-pity doesn't make it better. The only thing that moves the needle is ownership. When you own it all, you take your power back. Suddenly you're not a victim of your environment, you're the architect of your outcome. You realize that life doesn't hand out success to the most deserving, it rewards the most relentless. And relentless people don't sit around waiting. They don't make excuses. They don't hope for rescue. They look in the mirror and say, if it's going to happen, it's up to me. There's something deeply powerful that shifts in you when you stop expecting others to solve your problems. You become dangerous in the best way. You become unstoppable. Because now every obstacle is in a dead end. It's a challenge you're willing to face. Every delay isn't defeat. It's just a detour you learn from. You become the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure, you rise in it. If you've been stuck, it's not because you're broken. It's not because you're doomed, it's because you've been waiting. You've been hoping the motivation would magically show up. You've been hoping someone else would push you. You've been hoping for an external spark. But the truth is, you are the spark. You are the fuel. You are the one you've been waiting for. It's you. It's always been you. Most people never wake up to this. They coast through life hoping someone will finally recognize them, finally reward them, finally make things easier. But you don't need recognition, you need action. You don't need reward, you need work. You don't need easier, you need execution. Take a moment and really look at your life. What areas are you silently hoping someone will save you in? Be honest. Is it your career, your health, your confidence, your dreams? Are you waiting for a miracle or a mentor or a moment that may never come? You already have what you need to begin. You have your mind, you have your will, you have your breath, you have your time. And if you have those, you've got enough to take the first step. The people who transform their lives aren't the ones who had all the resources. They're the ones who became resourceful. They didn't wait to be rescued. They got up and built the bridge themselves. And you can too. You just have to stop believing the lie. The lie that says someone else is responsible for your life. The lie that says help is on the way and you just need to hang in there. The lie that keeps you passive. Because as long as you believe someone's coming to save you, you'll stay stuck exactly where you are. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you get to work. And the work is where the freedom lives. The work is where the confidence is born. The work is where the life you really want starts to take shape. But no one is going to hand it to you. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It whispers lies to you, telling you that you're fine where you are, that it's safer to stay small, that it's better to avoid the risk. Comfort feels good in the moment. It gives you temporary relief, but over time it steals your potential. It robs you of the fire that once burned inside. It convinces you that the discomfort of growth is too painful, too hard, too uncertain to be worth it. And slowly, without realizing it, you trade your ambition for ease, your power for predictability, your dreams for distraction. Greatness never comes from staying in the same place. It never comes from doing what's easy. It never shows up in the routines you've mastered and the habits you've repeated for years without question. Growth demands challenge. It demands failure. It demands pressure, pain, and persistence. The very things you avoid in your comfort zone are the things required to unlock your next level. But most people don't want to face that truth. They'd rather coast. They'd rather feel safe. They'd rather hold on to the illusion that they can stay where they are and still somehow rise to who they were born to be. Comfort is subtle. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't say, hey, I'm here to ruin your life. No, it shows up as convenience, as routine, as habits that once served you but now hold you back. It looks like sleeping in when you said you'd get up early. It looks like procrastinating on the thing that matters most because the task feels too big. It looks like settling in relationships, careers, and goals because the thought of starting over or pushing forward feels overwhelming. And over time, comfort becomes a cage you built yourself, one bar at a time. The tricky part is, comfort often looks like success to the outside world. Maybe you have a stable job, a decent income, a home, a routine. From the outside, you look like you've made it, but inside something is dying. A voice you keep silencing tells you this isn't it, that there's more, that you're capable of something greater, but instead of listening, you numb that voice with more distractions, more convenience, more comfort. You stay busy enough not to think, entertained enough not to feel, and surrounded enough not to confront the emptiness you carry when you're alone with yourself. If you want to grow, you have to go to war with your comfort zone. You have to break the habits that have kept you average. You have to be willing to feel awkward, to struggle, to fail publicly, to stretch yourself in ways that make your heart race and your stomach turn. Growth feels like pressure. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like stepping into rooms where you're not the smartest, not the strongest, not the most experienced, but you show up anyway. That's where greatness is forged. In the resistance, in the fire, in the tension between who you are and who you could be if you kept going. Comfort is seductive because it gives you the illusion of control. But the truth is, control without growth is just stagnation. You might control your environment, your schedule, your routine, but you're not evolving. You're not expanding, you're just repeating. And repetition without elevation becomes a trap. You wake up a year from now, 5 years from now, and realize you're in the exact same place, maybe even worse. Because comfort doesn't just keep you still, it slowly pulls you backward. The mind adapts to comfort the way the body does. Sit long enough and your muscles weaken. Avoid challenge long enough and your confidence shrinks. Stay untested long enough and you forget what you're made of. You start playing it safe in all areas of life. You stop taking risks in your relationships. You stop asking for more in your career. You stop showing up fully in your goals. And then you wonder why life feels flat, dull, uninspired. It's because you've been feeding yourself safety when your soul craves purpose. Every breakthrough is on the other side of discomfort. The promotion you want, it comes after the hard conversation you've been avoiding. The body you want, it's built through early mornings, intense workouts, discipline with your choices. The business you want to start, it demands late nights, rejection, trial and error, risk. The confidence you crave, it's earned through doing the things that scare you again and again until you realize fear isn't a reason to stop. It's a sign you're on the right path. Comfort will try to convince you that you can have the reward without the struggle, that you can skip the grind and still get the glory. But there is no cheat code, no shortcut, no bypass. The path to greatness is through the very things comfort teaches you to avoid. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the signal. It's the compass. It's the proof that you're doing something that matters, that you're not playing small anymore. Look around at the people you admire. The ones who are living full out, achieving extraordinary things, radiating a different energy, do you think they got there by staying comfortable? No. They chose the pain of progress over the pleasure of ease. They chose growth over guarantee. They stepped into uncertainty, into challenge, into resistance, and they kept going. That's the difference between those who live lives of meaning and those who die with regret. The ones who push through discomfort build resilience. The ones who avoid it build excuses. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce the belief that you can't handle more. You train your mind to retreat. You teach yourself to give up before you even try. And over time, this becomes your default. You stop dreaming big because deep down you know you won't follow through. You stop making bold moves because you've built a habit of hesitation. Comfort breeds doubt. It breeds weakness. It breeds a version of you that's a fraction of who you were meant to be. But when you choose discomfort, when you chase it, you start to change. You start to build an identity that says, I can handle hard things. You become someone who doesn't flinch at fear, who doesn't back down from challenge, who doesn't run from failure. You build grit. You build belief. You build the kind of confidence that can't be faked because it's been earned in the fire. And that kind of person becomes unstoppable. You're not stuck because you're not talented. You're not stuck because you're not capable. You're stuck because you've gotten too comfortable. You've gotten good at avoiding pain. But pain is the price of transformation. The longer you stay comfortable, the more you reinforce the cage you're in, and the harder it gets to break out. But you can break out. You can decide today that you're done settling, done coasting, done pretending that safety is worth more than your potential. The life you want requires you to let go of the life that's just fine. The future you dream about requires you to get uncomfortable on purpose. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Discomfort is the tool life uses to stretch you, to sharpen you, to shape you into the kind of person who can actually handle the level of success you're asking for. You don't rise to greatness by accident. You rise by choosing the path that hurts, the path that tests you, the path that demands more from you than you think you have, and then reveals that you've always had more inside you than you ever imagined. You already know what needs to change. Deep down, there's no mystery, there's no confusion. It's not a lack of information. You don't need another book, another video, another podcast, another motivational quote. You don't need to wait for someone else to tell you what's wrong or what the next step is. Because somewhere inside you, in a place you try to ignore, you already know. That habit that's draining you, that relationship that's holding you back, that lie you keep telling yourself, that version of life you're pretending is fine, you know it's not serving you. You know it's not aligned with who you really are or who you want to become. The problem isn't awareness, it's action. Most people aren't lost. They're not clueless. They're avoiding the truth they already carry. They bear it under distraction, drown it in busyness, hide from it behind fake goals and forced smiles. It's easier to say, I'm just figuring it out, than to face the fact that they're scared to make the move. Fear keeps people stuck, not ignorance. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success. So instead of confronting it, they pretend they need more time, more clarity, more signs. But all of that is delay. All of that is disguise. All of that is avoidance dressed up as planning. You wake up every day with a sense of what's off in your life. You feel it in your gut. It's that low-grade anxiety, that quiet frustration, that internal tension that never fully goes away. It's the reason you feel restless even when everything seems okay. It's the gap between what you do and what you know you're meant to do. And the longer you ignore that gap, the wider it gets. The more uncomfortable you become. You start living a life that looks good on the outside but feels wrong on the inside. That disconnection eats at you slowly, silently, until one day it becomes unbearable. But the truth has always been with you. You know what you're tolerating. You know where you're playing small. You know where you're breaking promises to yourself. You know what's out of alignment. And the longer you pretend you don't know, the more you suffer. Clarity isn't the issue. Courage is. The courage to be honest with yourself. The courage to call yourself out. The courage to admit that the way you're living isn't the way you want to keep living. That kind of honesty is brutal, but it's also freeing. Because once you stop pretending, you can start moving. Once you stop hiding, you can start healing. You already know you're capable of more. That's why you feel discontent. That's why you can't fully settle, because something in you refuses to let go of the vision you carry. Even when you try to forget it, even when you bury it under obligations and distractions, that vision haunts you because it's yours. It's not a fantasy. It's a reflection of your potential. And potential unfulfilled turns into pain. You're not in pain because your life is bad. You're in pain because you know it could be better and you haven't done what's necessary to change it. Every time you say, I don't know what to do, it's often a shield. What you really mean is, I know what to do, but it's hard and I'm scared. And that's human. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to hesitate, but don't confuse hesitation with confusion. Don't lie to yourself just to stay safe. Don't trade your future for the comfort of denial. Because the more you lie to yourself, the harder it gets to trust yourself. And self-trust is everything when it comes to creating a meaningful life. If you can't trust yourself to act on what you know, nothing else matters. Look at the patterns. Look at the areas where you keep ending up in the same place. That's not coincidence, that's feedback. The universe, life, your own spirit, they're all trying to get your attention. Repeating cycles are not random. They're signals. They're telling you, you haven't fixed this yet. You haven't faced it. You haven't learned the lesson. You haven't made the shift. And until you do, the pattern repeats, not because you're cursed, but because life is trying to teach you something you're refusing to learn. And once again, you already know what that thing is. Sometimes it's not even a big decision. It's the little things. You know you need to stop hitting snooze. You know you need to cut back on the scrolling. You know you need to be more present with your family. You know you need to speak up for yourself. You know you need to stop pretending you're okay when you're not. These aren't mysteries. They're just inconvenient truths. And inconvenient truths are the ones that change your life when you finally face them. You don't need more strategies, you need more honesty. Radical, unfiltered, uncomfortable honesty with yourself. The kind where you admit what you've been avoiding. Where you stop sugarcoating your reality. Where you take full responsibility, not in a way that shames you, but in a way that empowers you. Because the second you admit the truth, you reclaim your power. Denial keeps you stuck. Truth sets you free, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. You might be telling yourself that things aren't that bad, that you should just be grateful, that other people have it worse. And yes, gratitude is powerful, but not when it's used to justify stagnation. You can be grateful and still want more. You can appreciate what you have while still acknowledging that it's time to level up. Don't let guilt keep you small. Don't confuse contentment with complacency. There's a version of you that doesn't need to apologize for wanting growth, for wanting more, for wanting something different than what you've settled for. The reason the truth keeps resurfacing is because it's not going away until you deal with it. You can distract yourself for a while, you can drown it in work, in noise, in entertainment, but it always comes back. It taps you on the shoulder in quiet moments. It speaks to you when you're alone. It shows up in your frustration, your boredom, your burnout. And every time it shows up, you have a choice, to listen or to numb it again. One path leads to change. The other leads to regret. You don't need anyone else to confirm what you already know. Stop waiting for external validation. Stop waiting for the perfect timing. Stop waiting for someone to push you. If you're honest with yourself, you've been carrying this truth for a long time. You've just been waiting for the pain of staying the same to finally outweigh the pain of change. And maybe that time is now. Maybe that tension you feel isn't something to fix. Maybe it's something to follow. Maybe that discomfort is the beginning of your realignment. The moment you stop pretending you don't know is the moment everything begins to shift. Because clarity without action is just potential energy. But once you combine clarity with courage, you become unstoppable. The fog lifts, the excuses fade, the path forward may still be hard, but it's no longer hidden. You've always known. And when you admit what needs to change, you take the first real step toward becoming who you were meant to be. Time is not your friend. It's not waiting for you. It's not pausing while you overthink, hesitate, or play small. Time keeps moving whether you're ready or not. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. It's not being dramatic. It's being real. People love to talk about having time, making time, wasting time, but the truth is, time doesn't belong to you. It's borrowed. It's fleeting. And most people live as if they've got an unlimited supply. They act like tomorrow is guaranteed, like next week is promised, like the future is some safe place where they'll finally get serious. But the future doesn't exist yet. All you've got is now. You think you're waiting for the right moment, but what you're really doing is letting moments pass. You're waiting for clarity, for motivation, for some perfect alignment of circumstances that makes it easy to act. But that moment never comes. Because life doesn't hand you readiness. Life hands you opportunities. And it's up to you to decide whether or not you'll rise to meet them. Most people keep pushing their goals to later, thinking there'll be a better time. But later becomes never if you make it a habit. You keep pushing things down the road until one day you look back and realize the road ran out. People will say, I'll start when I feel more confident, or I'll move forward once I have it all figured out. But confidence comes from action. Clarity comes from movement. You don't get more time to become who you want to be. You use the time you have now to shape that version of you. Waiting only delays the experience of becoming. And deep down, you know this. You feel the urgency. You hear that quiet voice in the back of your mind saying, this isn't it. That voice isn't going away because it's trying to wake you up. Think about how many hours, days, years you've spent in jobs that didn't challenge you, relationships that didn't grow you, environments that didn't reflect your values. You stayed because it was familiar. You stayed because it was easier than facing the discomfort of change. But while you were staying, time was leaving. While you were thinking about it, debating it, procrastinating it, time kept moving forward. You can't get that time back. And the scariest part is you're still doing it. You're still letting your most valuable resource slip through your fingers while telling yourself there's still plenty left. People fear failure, rejection, judgment, but the real fear should be wasting your life, reaching the end and realizing you didn't fully live, that you played it safe, stayed small, followed the rules, checked the boxes, and never truly owned your time. That you said yes to what didn't matter and later to what did, that you let other people's opinions shape your direction, that you ignored the fire in your gut because the world told you to be realistic. Regret doesn't come from trying and failing, it comes from never trying at all. It comes from silence, from inaction, from watching your life happen instead of building it. Time is the great equalizer. No matter where you come from, what you have, who you know, you get the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is how you use it. Some people build empires with their time. Others build excuses. Some people use their minutes to take steps forward. Others use them to tell themselves stories about why they're not ready. Some invest their time in growth, in relationships, in purpose. Others spend it numbing, scrolling, avoiding, repeating patterns that do nothing but drain them. It's not about having more time. It's about owning the time you already have. Distraction is one of the most dangerous things stealing your time. You think you're just taking a break, just killing time, just checking out for a minute, but those minutes add up. They turn into hours, into days, into weeks. Before you know it, a year's gone by and you're still in the same place. You've had the same goals, the same dreams, the same problems, but you've let distraction keep you comfortable. Because distraction doesn't just waste time. It numbs the discomfort of knowing you're not where you should be. It silences the guilt, the pressure, the truth. But once the distraction fades, the reality is still there. And by then you've lost even more time. Urgency doesn't mean panic, it means intention. It means you recognize that life is short and you refuse to sleepwalk through it. It means you wake up with purpose. You act with clarity. You stop making excuses. You realize that waiting isn't neutral. It's a decision to stay the same. A decision to put your dreams on hold. A decision to let time slip by while hoping something magically changes. Nothing changes until you do. And time doesn't care if you're scared, tired, unsure, unprepared. It just keeps ticking. Every minute you spend complaining is a minute you could have spent creating. Every moment you spend comparing is a moment you could have spent building. Every hour you spend worrying is an hour you could have spent working. Time is the currency of your life. How you spend it determines what you become. You can't get rich in life by spending all your time on things that don't bring value. You have to audit your hours like your future depends on it, because it does. Start treating time like it matters, because once it's gone, it doesn't come back. There's someone out there with less experience than you, less talent, less knowledge. But they're ahead of you because they didn't wait. They started when it was messy. They moved before it was perfect. They used their time instead of waiting for the right time. That's the real difference between people who move forward and people who stay stuck. Not intelligence, not luck, not resources. It's urgency. It's ownership. It's recognizing that time is now, not someday. That the only moment you can actually control is this one. You've got things you want to do, places you want to go, a version of yourself you want to meet. But none of that happens unless you start acting like time matters. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when life feels easier. Now. Because life won't slow down for you to catch up. It doesn't pause for you to figure it all out. It's moving. And if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. There's no neutral. You're either growing or shrinking, building or breaking, rising or retreating. And time is the silent witness to it all. If you were to look at your life right now like a clock, what time is it? Is it still early enough to shift direction, to make a bold move, to start over if you have to? Or have you been telling yourself soon for so long that you're almost out of runway? The brutal truth is, you don't know how much time you have. None of us do. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to liberate you, to jolt you awake, to snap you out of the trance of waiting and into the power of doing. You don't have time to waste, not on overthinking, not on fear, not on pleasing people who don't matter, not on staying stuck in environments that drain your energy, not on routines that keep you numb and average. You have time to build. You have time to grow. You have time to create something that lasts. But only if you stop acting like time is guaranteed. Only if you stop letting your minutes get stolen by things that don't matter. Only if you wake up and decide that your life is worth more than delay, distraction, and doubt. Your future is not written in stone. It's not predetermined. It's not fixed by your past. It's shaped by what you decide today, in this moment, over and over again. And the problem for most people isn't that they lack dreams. It's that they lack commitment. They think about what they want, talk about what they want, wish for what they want, but they don't decide. They don't commit. And until you commit, everything stays optional. Growth stays optional. Discipline stays optional. Change stays optional. And when something's optional, it never becomes real. You'll never build a powerful life on weak decisions. You have to burn the boats. You have to make the kind of choice that says, this is happening no matter what. Commitment is uncomfortable because it demands consistency even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to show up when it's hard, when you're tired, when no one's watching, when no one's clapping. And most people are addicted to convenience. They'll do it when it's easy. They'll do it when they're motivated. But real growth doesn't care about your feelings. The strongest version of you doesn't rise from convenience. It rises from commitment. The version of you that breaks through, that builds something meaningful, that rewrites the story of your life, that version only shows up when you decide to stop negotiating with your potential. You can't keep living on autopilot and expect your life to change. You can't keep dipping your toe in the water and expect to learn how to swim. You can't keep giving half effort and expect full results. At some point, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm done flirting with the life I want, I'm building it now. That kind of decision changes everything. Because when you truly commit, your behavior starts to align. You stop looking for shortcuts, you stop looking for exit routes, you stop entertaining distractions, you get focused, you get fierce, you get disciplined. And discipline isn't punishment, it's power. It's the ability to keep your word to yourself regardless of how you feel in the moment. Commitment is what turns chaos into structure. It's what gives you control in a world full of noise. When you're committed, you don't get lost in comparison. You don't bounce from idea to idea, plan to plan, goal to goal. You plant your flag, you draw your line in the sand. You stop dabbling and start mastering. And mastery isn't glamorous, it's repetitive, it's boring, it's doing the work when no one else sees it. But that's what separates people who create impact from people who stay stuck in their comfort zone. The world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you're willing to commit to. People get excited about change until they realize it requires sacrifice. And sacrifice isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's saying no to the party so you can work on your craft. It's skipping the easy way so you can build the strong way. It's turning down temporary pleasure for long-term fulfillment. The people who win long-term aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the highest tolerance for doing hard things consistently. They've built their identity around commitment, not convenience. They don't just want it, they've decided they will have it. And that decision becomes the foundation of their action. Look at the people you admire. Look at the lives you want to emulate. You'll find one thing in common: commitment. They didn't drift into greatness. They didn't casually create impact. They didn't accidentally build something meaningful. They locked in, they made the decision once, and then they made it again every single day. That's what creates momentum. That's what makes progress inevitable. It's not luck, it's not timing, it's consistency multiplied by time. But you don't get that kind of power without commitment. And you don't get commitment without clarity. You have to know what you stand for, what you want, and what you're no longer willing to tolerate. Commitment is about identity. It's not just what you do, it's who you decide you are. Are you the kind of person who finishes what they start? Are you the kind of person who keeps showing up even after the emotion is gone? Are you the kind of person who does the right thing when no one's clapping, no one's validating, no one's acknowledging? Because that's where greatness lives, in the lonely hours, in the unseen effort, in the days when no one cares, but you still do. That's where self-respect is born. That's where confidence is built. That's where trust in yourself becomes unshakable. And when you trust yourself, you become dangerous, not to others, but to the old version of you. The version that quit when it got hard. The version that gave up when it wasn't perfect. The version that settled for less because the world told you it was good enough. You bury that version through commitment. You silence that voice of doubt by showing it who's in charge. Every time you keep your promise to yourself, every time you do the hard thing, every time you take the step you've been avoiding, you prove to yourself that you're not the same. You're evolving. You're rising. You're taking control. And it's not always dramatic. Sometimes commitment is quiet. It's not the loud declaration, it's the steady execution. It's not the hype, it's the habit. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always feel strong. But commitment isn't a feeling, it's a decision backed by action. You don't need to be motivated every day. You just need to remember why you started. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to do the work anyway. The feelings will follow the action not the other way around. People wait to feel committed before they act, but the truth is, acting in alignment with your vision is what creates the feeling of commitment. Excuses die when you get committed. Because once you've decided, everything else becomes noise. Distractions lose their power. Obstacles become part of the process. You stop arguing for your limitations. You stop explaining your lack of results. You start looking for sympathy and start looking for strategy. You start asking better questions. You start moving different. You stop being emotionally tied to your old identity and start becoming the person you said you'd be. That shift doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from decision. The kind of decision that doesn't leave room for doubt. The kind of decision that redefines how you operate. You're not stuck because you lack potential. You're stuck because you haven't truly committed. You haven't drawn that hard line. You're still negotiating with your old self. You're still entertaining the voice that says maybe later, maybe next time, maybe when it's easier. But that voice will rob you blind. It'll steal your years. It'll convince you that average is acceptable, and the only way to shut that voice down is with action, with repetition, with that relentless kind of commitment that says, I may not be there yet, but I'm not leaving the path until I am. You already have what it takes. It's not a matter of ability, it's a matter of resolve. The question isn't whether you're capable, the question is whether you're committed. And that answer shows up not in what you say, but in what you do every single